commemoration day. Please, someone who have something to say, just turn on your camera, your microphone, and say a few words.
Maybe I say something for Luigi Accardi about his sentence that there are difficulty in defining Fourier transform from functions to functions of infinite-dimensional argument. But in our last paper with Oleg Georgievich, we just constructed such a Fourier transform, which is unitary in some space analogous to ordinary Schwarz space. And I can show again the paper. I think I have sent it already to your email. And there is no, in such a space, Schwarz type, Fourier transform is not difficult because it is simply limit of finite dimensional partial Fourier transforms with respect to subspace, subspaces in Hilbert space.
Well, if I can do a comment, this seems to me great news, because then you can try to apply to the heat equation.
To heat?
You should apply, because if you have this, you may replace the trick that we used with Oleg to define the equation of measures. And you could try to find directly a functional space, because the space that we found, then we discovered with Bogachev that the space is too small, but you can find a larger space of functions. But I can tell you now we know that the real domain for the Lévy-Laplacian is not functions, is Hida distributions. In fact, Hida distribution are the natural domain for Lévy-Laplacian. This is something we have learned in many years of study. That is the Hida distribution are universal for all exotic Lévy-Laplacians. That is, they have not they have a dense, they have a subspace, not dense, but on each exotic Laplacian is defined on a subspace, and the closure of this subspace is outside the Hida distribution. But the subspace is in the Hida distribution.
I want.
But you can try. This is a good test for your generalized Fourier transform.
Yes.
To see if it works in this specific example.
It was a plan. Thank you for reminding.
Thank you.
And I want
Yes,
to remind that it is your space of functions is connected with Laplacian, because it's Fourier transform for this paper works on the agent spaces of the Lévy-Laplacian, and it is natural it must be natural connection with these works by Oleg Georgievich, Professor Bogachev, Professor Smolyanov. It is obvious.
Thank you for comment. Yes.
So once again, I just want to remark that, well, I'm very impressed with all the talks, and I guess we had a very great event today, a special. Even among the whole week, this is a special day. So Professor Smolyanov is still inspiring us, I would say so. Yeah.
We still have not finished our event, so
yes.
I invite those of you who have not said a word, please share with us your experience. For example, I see here Diana Talstiga former PhD student of Professor Smolyanov, my scientific sister. Diana, maybe you will share with us some photos or some memories.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
Hi, Diana.
Yeah, sorry, I just joined the conference. Sorry, I skipped most of the part of the conference. So I don't know, are you discussing any kind of mathematical results or just memories of the Professor Smolyanov?
Just memories, but if mathematics appears, we are not ashamed.
You're sorry, what?
We are just sharing our memories, but if
Okay, sure.
mathematics appears, then we are not ashamed.
Okay, okay. So I have one memory which I would like to share with you. It's not related to mathematical things rather than personal one, because during past years I was a bit far from academic area, and we just support our relationship personally, like as a family. And Oleg Georgievich visited my wedding some time ago, and it was a very interesting gift which he presented me to the wedding. So you could make some guesses if you want.
Is it a book?
No, it's not a book. It's not a
Okay.
book, and it's not an article.
Okay.
So okay, I will say because it's very typical, I think, for Oleg Georgievich to present those kind of gifts. So he presented me a photo of himself with the Prigozhin, Mish. Yeah, he was a Nobel Prize winner in chemistry, I think, Prigozhin. So it was Prigozhin and Oleg Georgievich on this picture, where Oleg Georgievich were talking to him and told him something pretty interesting. And Oleg Georgievich pointed it specifically that, you see, this Nobel Prize winner is sitting and listening to me very carefully, like he's listening what I'm talking about, and this is me, so this is the gift for you for the wedding. Yeah, so
But you have this photo, yes? So we can, so you
yes,
can
yes,
make a copy for us.
Yes, I would be very happy to share this photo with you guys. It just takes some time because this photo left in Moscow, and I'm based in the United States currently. So I will definitely share it with you if you like.
Professor Akardy showed this. Professor Akardy showed
yes, but he showed photo of the photo.
Photo of the photo only.
Yes,
yeah, it was photo of the photo. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, he presented me photo of the photo as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was an extraordinary person, and I have so many memories with him, which I would be happy to share with you, like some pictures if you want, because we've traveled a lot. We've been to Israel. We've been to London a few years ago. We've been to Germany, I think, also about 10 years ago, and we have many photos. So yeah, that's something that might be useful for the next generation. At least not academic, but personal. But I think it's very good to remember him.
Yes, of course, and please share all your materials which you are able to share with us for the future book about Professor Smolyanov.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
Someone else, please.
Ну, пока все думают, я еще раз поблагодарю Ваню за организацию такого замечательного научного события и поминального. Очень приятно было.
Спасибо. Ну, мы здесь все вместе одно дело делаем. Так что тут огромная роль и ваша лично, и огромная роль остальных учеников. и огромная роль моих учеников, которые занимаются техническими вопросами на организации этой конференции. Так что это общее дело, и я тут скорее как выступил катализатором, не более того.
Куда без катализатора?
И то верно.
Thanks. Yes, it is great. Yeah, I'm very pleased with this day, with this week, but in particular with this day.
We also have tomorrow.
Yes. But I guess today, it was something very special. Luigi, we don't hear you.
I say, let me anticipate a hearty thanks, also personally, because I realized just at the last moment that there was this day dedicated to Oleg Smolyanov. And so I thank you very much for having allowed me also to participate to his memorial.
Yes, actually, I was worried that you were not replying to my emails, and I felt actually upset. I suppose maybe you have some health problems or something like this because this pandemic and so on. But
No,
finally,
simply that I thought I have answered to you, but I forgot. Simply forgot because I had an intense period in these 2 months. But just this. And then I read your announcement. Fortunately, you continued to send to me the announcement because I read at one and I could realize that this was important for me to participate.
Professor Arkadia, what's about the journal Infinite Dimensional Analysis, Quantum Probability and Related Topics? Is it working?
Yes, it's working. Only of course I preferred to have the change of guard of directors before I become too old and other people, because young generations should take over now. And so now the managing editor is Rajabat. I am still in the editorial board. So if somebody of you wants to send me some paper, I can deal with it as an editor. I don't promise as a referee, but as an editor, surely. But now there is electronic submission. So it is even, but you, according to the constitution of the journal, you can submit, indicate an editor when you submit.
Thank you.
Misha Niklutov, maybe you can share some personal memories about Professor Smolyanov, because during your talk, you were speaking mostly about mathematics and about your mathematics, even more about your mathematics. It was done recently.
Okay, unfortunately, I couldn't finish. Actually, I wanted, in the end, I was finishing with a new type of quantization, which is not directly, but it's related to what Oleg Georgievich was doing. So it was actually in the end, unfortunately.
Related, of course.
Yes, so unfortunately, I don't have any photos because at that time, it was 20 years ago. I didn't have so much, there were no smartphones to make photos, but I remember very fondly long walks from the university building to the metro station, Universitet. With Oleg Georgievich and some other students. Usually it was quite late at night. We either took a bus, I remember. I don't remember which bus, or we walked there, and it was a good time. Yeah, and of course, I remember long phone explanations when he was explaining me some. At that time, I understood very little of them. Only later, I started to understand some of his explanations, which he gave me on the phone.
That's it.
Right now it's difficult in one second give, because somehow it passed a lot of time. You understand that I'm out of say Russia already almost 20 years past. I don't know how, but the time indeed runs very, very, very fast.
Yes, but as a member of school of Professor Smolyanov,
Yeah.
we should make a connected set, a better connected set. Yeah. So probably somebody other could add something. For example, Franco Fagnola, or Sonia, or Oleg.
I have a question, but it is actually to Yevgeny Shavkulidze, if he's listening. And he's connected, of course, with Alec Smolyanov.
I don't see Shavkulidze here at the
I
moment.
see, sorry. It was a moment ago, but maybe not. No, it was about the book about continuous integrals. So I mean, already mentioned by Sonia Mazzucchi. This is about Feynman type integral, oscillatory integrals. And it has appeared in Russian, but not yet, maybe, in English. So I think it's a pity for the people, the community who does not read Russian so easily. I mean, with vocabulary we can, in fact, I manage something to read, but so to say, I think it would be a great service to the community to organize a translation.
I think there is a translation in English.
There is? I didn't know. I didn't know, but I couldn't find. I was looking and
I even don't. I also don't.
I remember having talked often with Alec asking, and he said, yeah, there will be.
Do you
But
have this
since
translation?
time goes on, now I cannot ask him any longer. But I had the impression there was a second edition in English, 2015.
In Russian.
Russian, in Russian, but
Russian.
and I expected, because I don't know, Springer or other editors are very keen, or before it was Kluver would translate many books, but now it's maybe other publishers, but then I didn't see, so I don't know whether it is a technical problem. But probably the best to ask was because it was a book with Shavkulidze. So,
Professor Shamarov, if you have English translation of that book, maybe you can show it, at least the first several pages. Your microphone is off.
I heard, as I remember, maybe my memory is not good.
Do you have the file of that book?
Now I'm looking in a list on Истина МГУ. And I didn't
Probably there is a draft or something like this, but I'm not sure that there is a published version.
Maybe there is only a draft. There was.
yeah, like Sonia mentioned, that some.
Yes, as far as I know, there is no published version in English.
So do I.
Maybe it was only plans. I heard from Oleg Georgich that it will be prepared, the translation to English.
So probably it will be prepared.
It's an encouragement.
Yeah, so we have a very good catalyst, Ivan Remizov, so probably he will make something also in this direction. Someone.
I think that's too much of me. This conference might probably be enough. So someone probably else can catalyze another reaction, because catalyzers are reaction specific. One substance is a catalysator for one reaction, but useless for other reaction.
Okay, nevertheless, we have to make a place where we can collect our photos and materials. So by the moment, you are the organizer of the conference, so
yes, please send all the materials to me.
And then we decide how to.
And actually, well, I think that probably we can just use the Wikipedia. Because everyone can edit the Wikipedia, and we can, instead of writing books, just develop the Wikipedia. Because what is published in the papers, it is considered by Wikipedia as well-established source of information. So we can just contribute to Wikipedia. It is available in web search, and we can commemorate Smolyanov because writing articles for Wikipedia, we can mention that this was idea by Smolyanov and that was idea by Smolyanov. Probably books for new digital era is kind of old-fashioned way of presenting information. And
I think anyway there should be a moderator, one moderator organizing the process. So just if everybody will do something, then it will be just puzzles.
Probably yes, but I think that probably the correct framework is Wikipedia, because it is worldwide accessible and probably, and it accepts photos also, no problem. So if you have some photo of Smolyanov, we can upload them to the web page dedicated to him, the page in Wikipedia, which was already created recently.
Okay, we can discuss it for some time, not now, necessarily now.
Sonia, maybe you add also some memories about Smolyanov, because you had very limited time for contributing your memories, because it was at the same time as your research talk. Maybe you also share some.
Yes, maybe I have some memory also as a remark. Actually, I started to collaborate with Smolyanov only recently, so I didn't know him for a long time, but I have the pleasure to have him as my guest in my house with my family, and I really enjoy it very much, I remember. And I remember him sitting in my kitchen and talking to my children, which were really fascinated by him. You look at him as a source of history, living history, I would say. And I remember that he was really a human person, because I felt that after also some years, when he found me, when he met him, he always asked me about my family, and he remembered the name of all my children as well as of my dog. He always asked me how are we going, my children, but also my dog. He knew how much I loved her, and he remembered everything. It was very, very, he knew the importance of person, he knew the importance of family, and I think that we will miss him also for his side of his personality. And if I may ask something, I think that even if, and I have already mentioned this aspect, even if I was not one of his students, he really tried to encourage me. And let me say that in these days, encouraging and women in science, it's a kind of fashion. But on his side, this was not the fashion of the days. It was sincere, I guess, because he has a daughter. He had a daughter. I don't know. And I really appreciated this. And it is important because Jana helped me on this. Sometimes women need encouragement because they make a step back often, and one needs also some encouragement to don't give up, go on, you can manage everything. And he understood this, and I really appreciated, really.
I suspect that everybody needs an encouragement, not only women, but especially young people who are not experienced with how it should be. And so his encouragement was very essential for all.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, thank you very much, Sonia, for your remark, because, well, actually, I am surprised to hear such a remark, because as for me, I consider you as a very well-established expert in the field, as a very bright professor, as a very bright author of books, as a very bright teacher, and also as a very nice colleague who was patient to all my failures and all my, I'm sorry, I cannot do this and that and so on. So I'm really impressed by your personality, and it is very, well, surprising for me that even you need some encouragement sometimes. So first of all
people are people.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
First of all, Smolyanov died, but I'm alive. If you need any kind of encouragement, please don't hesitate to call me, because I really sincerely consider you as a very bright professional. And well, many people, for example, Sakbayev, not only Smolyanov, but Sakbayev also encouraged me sometimes. Well, it's, of course, it's my duty. If one of my bright colleagues thinking of being upset, it is my duty to be, well, to explain that he or she should not be upset, because everything will definitely be all right. Well, please consider me as a guy who will try to play Smolyanov's role. If you have any reasons to be upset, please don't hesitate to ask me. Well, indeed, I consider you as a very bright person, and this is not related to your gender. It's just well, you first of all is a professor, and also you are a beautiful woman. So this is not that, yes, that in that order. So well, it's, well, I know a lot of male professors who will be happy to have your career, for sure, for sure. So it's no problem at all.
Okay, thank you, Ivan. Let's come back on Professor Smolyanov, because
yes, I have actually the same situation, because I have now quite a lot of students, and I also should keep them doing something. And then I'm also thinking that I should encourage them somehow. I should do them somehow, and probably I am too lazy in this. I should be more active, because even if well-established Professor Madzuki is thankful to Smolyanov, then of course I should be active in encouraging my students who are in the very beginning of their career, because they probably will also be thankful to me.
Of course, it's always good to support each other, and young people, but also just all people who you meet. If you see that there is a need for support, it's worth to support. Yeah.
How I was inspired. So say about a couple of situations with Professor Smolyanov, which our foreign friends didn't know, I think. First is the way how one of his pupil has chosen him. This pupil was a student of another university, physical technical institution, and she was not satisfied with the level of mathematics there, and she has a friend who was sent to Moscow State University to find who is the most cute professor in mathematical faculty. And that person goes to Moscow State University and return with answer that it is Professor Smolyanov. That's another story is about our paper about which I have talked today. After we find this Schwarz type space and appropriate scalar product with respect to which the Fourier transform was conserving the norm, Hilbert norm. After that, I say that this Schwarz space is separable. And Professor Smolyanov and Professor Sakbayev said me that they have doubts. And even Professor Smolyanov once brings to me the arguments why it cannot be separable. And it was a question, I said them that I believe it's separable. And the situation was some weeks or months. And one time, Oleg Georgievich said to me, it's evidently separable. For this moment, I had not my own proof for that, but he found it earlier. It was 2090. It was 90th year. Yes, when we bring this paper to the journal Доклады Mathematics.
So there is a proverb that scientists should regularly change his mind, otherwise he becomes dogmatic. So this is applicable here.
After that, I have written my own proof and asking him when he said that the space is obviously separable. Does he mentioned? Did he mention some proof? He said. He asked me, "Have I the proof?" I said yes, and he said it's interesting to compare. It was such a situation. He was 81 and has proved faster than me.
So you have seen his way of proving?
What?
So you have seen his version of the proof?
We discussed, yes.
So it was shorter?
The same. No photo by words. Main idea.
Yes, but it was his proof was shorter such that it was evidently separable or not that evidently?
He had ideas.
Okay.
Yes, of course, and mine was the same.
Okay, I see. Boria, can you introduce us your cat?
It doesn't want.
He was afraid.
Okay.
I have a question for all of you who are still here, because no one wants to leave this memorial event. How do you think, which personal qualities made Professor Smolyanov so attractive? Well, for sure he was an attractive person, because we are all attracted by him. We are still here. What's your opinion? What are like top 3 qualities that made his personality so bright and attractive?
I can answer in German, and probably Sergio will translate into English. So, er war großzügig. We don't hear you.
Big heart, probably.
Very generous, and letting other people participate to the ideas. No? I think that is what you meant. Yeah. Großzügig, yes. Just
Generous. Okay, generous. What else?
Generous. Yeah, no, this I completely share what Jana said. And also but this was also said today, I think was very interested in persons. Sonia mentioned that he was interested in, he remembered the names of people he met, and also especially from the family, for instance. The same experience I had. He would immediately ask me whenever we talk, even on the phone, how is the family, but with the name and my wife and the name of my daughter. But not only like that, but he was really interested in having in what happens with them. I mean, why, for instance, my daughter would study social sciences, and yes, and what kind of life she would have. And so this was genuine interest, not so to say superficial. This is one deep thing, what I think. And also with his communication with people, I think the human side was always important. Was always important. So to say, also, so to say, he localized, for instance, concerning myself, some common interest, and somehow, and of course I admired this the great knowledge he had of many areas, and so to say how naturally all the concept came, so to say well, we can just say technique, but it's more than technique. It's really a culture, mathematical culture. Of course, it was particularly evident in his personality. There is something to it also in the culture of the surroundings. So it's not by chance that sometimes I think Smolyanov quoted Gelfand, but in any case came to my mind my first meetings with at that time were Soviet mathematicians, but mainly they were people located either in St. Petersburg or in the early time, because St. Petersburg and Moscow, that is where I went maybe the first time around 78, I think. And then 81, as I mentioned, is more. Yeah, and so they were very, of course, very curious, because we were at that time very few people from the West going there, of course. This is natural. But even beyond that, even later, when many visitors came to Moscow or to those places, I think there was, at least in my opinion, there was always this openness and interest outside the speciality. So in some sense, this is part of the culture and is incarnated in person. So Gelfand used to say that it's not enough to send preprint. Of course, he told to me, of course, I saw your preprints, because I saw is too much, because at that time there was no way to communicate besides sending by mail. So we exchanged our preprints. And he said, but it was important, and I read what you wrote, but it was important to meet the person, to see his face, to talk to him. And I think this is Gelfand, but I think this could apply, at least this part of personality would apply to Oleg as well. I think he also enjoyed more conversation than just mere reading. Yeah. Yeah, this is another aspect of his personality. And Ivan told him we should point some character. I mean, generosity is for sure, because he would share his ideas, not only with me, but with co-workers who were around. And so to say, he considered the community, he considered, so to say, my community, his interest maybe with something I was doing extended immediately to co-workers, very easily to say. And this is not by chance that, for instance, Sonia was having such a good relation to him and his students like Ivan, and I think, yeah, and this happened with other of our common, like Martin, who was here. Yeah, and okay, thank you for it.
I have one more memory
Listen,
about you, Professor Albeverio, and about other colleagues of Professor Smolyanov. Smolyanov indeed respected and I would say loved his collaborators as a well, like a brother love. And when he comes back from his conferences or scientific visits, he usually discussed his visit with his students, which sometimes really is a broad audience. And he usually described the people who he interacted with to everyone. He shared his expression of working with that professor, of this professor. And about you, Professor Albeverio, he usually told that I like very much how he answers phone calls. Usually very optimistic, very positive. He says one word, pronto.
But this is Italian way, by the way, but anyhow, I usually like.
Yeah, so this this says something about person, that he were making a good advertisement to other professors, and advertisements were not only in mathematics, but also in personality. So I have never met you before that week, but I was sure that you are a nice person, because I had, and all of us had, nice recommendations from Professor Smolyanov about you. And not only about you. So this says something about Professor Smolyanov, that he was
yeah, so positive thinking about every person. Yeah.
Not about every.
No, yes, but I mean, yeah.
Yes, he was actually a sincere man, and if he had not good attitude to some person, he was not hesitating to say some bad words about someone.
But if he was saying something good, it was definitely that he was thinking something good, not that sometimes people think something bad but say something good. It was never the case. So he was very honest.
Yes, and he also tried to follow his own rule to say good things about person publicly, and bad things privately. But well, there are only, well, say 1, 2, 3, not more people who he was disappointed with. Most of the people were good for him, but well, like 1, 2, 3 people he was disappointed. Yes, that's true, but not more. And of course, those people are not speakers on that conference.
One time, I has blamed Professor Smolyanov that he looks on mathematics as on physics, and he answered, "Yes, it is."
So mathematics should be meaningful. Of course, he said once that the amount of problems grows exponentially. So one should really has to choose what to deal with. And one of the criterion how to choose was the beauty. Not only the applications and potential profit, but the beauty.
I would like to continue my squeezy topic about people who Smolyanov was not fond of. When Smolyanov was telling some not pleasant things about someone, he always provided the proof. He always provided the proof. And that was really a good feature about personality of Smolyanov. For example, he was criticizing one professor for the following fact, that when that professor was well, just a regular professor of some chair, I would not name the personality, just describe the idea, because it is a story about Smolyanov, not about that professor. So when that professor was just regular professor of some chair, he was not commenting the number of portraits that were present on the wall, on the chair in the lobby. But once that professor becomes head of the chair, he or she, that person, that professor, removed the portrait of his or her scientific supervisor, with the reason that professor was not head of that chair, and on that chair only portraits of heads of that chair should present. That's it. Professor Smolyanov was complaining about this a lot. He considered this very strange and not respectful to scientific supervisor. So, okay, you became head of the chair, and the first thing you do, remove the portrait of your scientific supervisor from the wall. So Smolyanov was complaining about this a lot. But Smolyanov was not head of the chair, so he couldn't.
Yes, but I can continue the story. When this head of a chair passed away, somebody has put his portrait somewhere on in this room, and so we are not recording, or we are recording.
We are recording. This is why I'm saying this chair, this professor.
Yes. But well, okay. But I think I can say this. So now
you are not Russian, professor. You can say whatever you want.
Well, so after this person passed away, a new portrait has appeared in a room of this chair, his portrait, and Professor Smolyanov was not very happy with this somehow. I don't know how to say it in English, but in Russian, лизоблюдство. Well. And so he asked me to replace this portrait by a portrait of Dmitry Donskoy. Dmitry Donskoy was a kind of a king of Russia many years ago, and he is a very brave person who, he's a saint, actually, a saint of Orthodox Church. And so we have replaced, so not he didn't do that. So he was able to say that I didn't do that. But after his request, I have replaced the person of.
Indeed.
Yes.
You are confessing.
How many days?
This is a public confession.
No problem. How many days the things were as you did it?
Well, I guess it was immediately, not immediately, but after the death of this head of the chair, a small portrait has appeared. And when I have replaced this portrait by the portrait of Dmitry Donskoy. But of course, later on, a big portrait of this head of the chair was created, and it is hanging on the wall. So it is hanging, but I guess Dmitry Donskoy is still there. I mean, of course, I was not at Moscow State University already for many years, but I assume that Dmitry Donskoy is still there.
Yes. I'm not close to Moscow State University also for several years. Professor Shamarov, maybe you remember, is the portrait of Professor Dmitry Donskoy still on the wall?
No, not on the wall. It was the portrait of staying. We don't hear you, Nikolai Nikolaevich.
I'm working on another chair.
But still, probably...
You have never seen the...
Yes, not often. I see open door with these portraits.
Yes, and actually, well, Smolyanov was a brave man.
Yes.
He was a brave man. If he was disappointed with something, he was complaining about that. He was sending signal to the universe. He was complaining to everyone, hoping that probably if he distributes this information, probably someone will solve the situation.
But probably not someone, but he will solve the situation.
Sometimes he solved the situation himself. Yeah. Sometimes he was just brave enough to
say about this.
Yes, to say about something.
when that strange head of chair said to Professor Smolyanov publicly, go out this chair. Professor answered, after you, I will think.
Yes. Okay. So yes, as mentioned, I guess Vladimir Bogachev at our previous meeting at 8th of February, Oleg Georgievich mentioned once that his mother, when he was just born, his mother didn't have enough milk, and there was a gypsy woman who supported Oleg Smolyanov with her milk, and so he has some. I would say, I don't know how to say it properly in any language, aventurism. He liked adventures, and he was brave enough to make something, to take on the challenge to do something. So he was not scared of some phase transitions, so to say. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now I must go.
So do I. So probably it's a nice point.
I was glad to see you all.
Yeah.
Okay, then I propose to stop the recording. If someone else has something to say, not publicly, you can do it.
Recording stopped.
So you can do it now, not for recording. If you wish, I will be here also. Well, if someone else will be here, then I will be here also.